Good morning. Your teacher asked me if I would be willing to read you a book about gratitude. This month, we all know that our moral focus for November is gratitude. And there are so many things to be thankful for and have gratitude for. I think one of the biggest things that I have gratitude is for my family. I'm so thankful for my husband and for my daughter, Breslin. And I'm just thankful that I get to spend time with them in the evenings and that I get to be Breslin's mommy. So I'm going to spend some time reading you guys a book about gratitude. The book that I'm going to read you today is called Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. It's a really good book. I like the illustrations, and I'm excited to read it to you guys today. Sylvester Duncan lived with his mother and father at Acorn Road in Oakdale. One of his hobbies was collecting pebbles of unusual shape and color. On a rainy Saturday during vacation, he found a quite extraordinary one. It was flaming red, shiny, and perfectly round like a marble. As he was studying this remarkable pebble, he began to shiver, probably from excitement, and the rain felt cold on his back. I wish it could stop raining, he said. Do you guys ever wish it would stop raining? Here it is in the rain. To his great surprise, the rain stopped. It didn't stop gradually, as rains usually do. It ceased. Ceased means it completely stopped. The drops vanished. On the way down, the clouds disappeared. Everything was dry, and the sun was shining as if the rain had never existed. That would be pretty crazy, wouldn't it? In all of his young life, Sylvester had never had a wish gifted so quickly. It struck him that magic must be at work, and he guessed that the magic must be the remarkable looking red pebble, where indeed it was. To make a test, he put the pebble on the ground and said, I wish that it would rain again. Nothing happened, but then he said the same thing holding the pebble in his hoof. The sky turned black, there was lightning and a clap of thunder, and the rain came shooting down. That would be so surprising. What a lucky day this is, thought Sylvester. From now on, I can have anything that I want. My father and mother can have anything they want. My relatives, my friends, and anybody at all can have everything anybody wants. He wished the sunshine back in the sky, and he wished a wart on his left hind fetlock would disappear, and it did. And he started home, eager to amaze his father and mother with the magic pebble. He could hardly wait to see their faces. Maybe they wouldn't even believe him at first. I'm not sure if I'd believe Breslin if she came home and told me about that. As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many things that he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean, hungry lion looking right at him from behind tall grass. He was frightened. If he hadn't been so frightened, he could have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished himself safe at home with his father and mother. He could have wished the lion would turn into a butterfly or a daisy or a gnat. He could have wished many things, but he panicked and he couldn't think carefully. Do you ever feel that way when something scary happens? You just kind of don't know what to do. I wish I were a rock, he said, and he became a rock. The lion came bounding over, sniffed the rock 100 times, walked around and around, and and went away confused, perplexed, puzzled, and bewildered. I saw the little donkey clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy, he muttered. So the lion just walked away. What do you think is going to happen? Make a prediction. Do you think he's going to be able to turn back into a donkey, or do you think he's going to be stuck being a rock? I wonder. Let's see. And there was Sylvester, a rock on Strawberry Hill, with a magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground, and he was unable to pick it up. Oh, how I wish I were myself again, he thought, but nothing happened. He had to be touching the pebble to make the magic work, but there was nothing that he could do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried. Being helpless, he felt hopeless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realized that his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find the red pebble and to wish that the rock next to it would be a donkey. Someone would surely find the red pebble. It was so bright and shiny. But what on earth would make them wish that a rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in a billion at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many stars. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan paced the floor, frantic with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stayed up all night wondering what had happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning, but he didn't. Of course, Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their dear son with them. I will never scold Sylvester again as long as I live, said Mrs. Duncan, no matter what he does. At dawn they went about inquiring all of the neighbors. They talked to all the children, the puppies, the kittens, the colts, the piglets. No one had seen Sylvester since the day before yesterday. They went to the police, and the police could not find their child. All of the dogs in Oakdale went searching for him. They sniffed behind every rock and tree and blade of grass, into every nook and gully of the neighborhood and beyond, but found not a scent of him. They sniffed the rock on Strawberry Hill, but it smelled like a rock. It did not smell like Sylvester. So they had no way of knowing the rock was Sylvester. After a month of searching the same places over and over again, inquiring of the same animals over and over again, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan no longer knew what to do. They concluded that something dreadful must have happened and that they would probably never see their son, though all the time he was less than a mile away. They tried their best to be happy, to go about their usual ways, but their usual ways included Sylvester, and they were always reminded of him. They were miserable. Life had no meaning for them anymore. Look how sad the dad and the mom look. They're so sad. Night followed, and day Night followed day, and day followed night, over and over again. Sylvester on the hill woke up less and less often. When he was awake, he was only hopeless and unhappy. He felt like he would be a rock forever. He tried to get used to it. He went into an endless sleep. The days grew colder, fall came, and the leaves changing color. Then the leaves fell to the grass and bent to the ground. Then it was winter. The winds blew this way and that. It snowed. Mostly the animals stayed indoors, living on the food that they had stored. One day a wolf sat on a rock that was Sylvester and howled because he was hungry. That kind of looks like Michigan winters. Lots of snow. Then the snows melted, the earth warmed up, and the spring sun and things budded. Leaves were on the trees again. Flowers showed their young faces. And there's that rock, Sylvester, still waiting on the hill. One day in May, Mr. Duncan insisted that his wife go with him on a picnic. Let's cheer up, he said. Let us try to live again and be happy, even though Sylvester, our angel, is no longer with us. They went to Strawberry Hill. Mrs. Duncan sat down on the rock. The warmth of his own mother sitting on him woke Sylvester up from his deep winter sleep. He had wanted to shout, Mother! Father! It's me, Sylvester! I'm right here! But he couldn't talk. He had no voice. Mr. Duncan walked aimlessly about while Mrs. Duncan set out the picnic food on the table. alfalfa sandwiches, pickled oats, sassafras salad. Suddenly, Mr. Duncan saw the red pebble. "What a fantastic pebble!" he exclaimed. Sylvester would have loved it for his collection. He put the pebble on the rock. What do you think is going to happen? So now the pebble is on the rock. Sylvester is trying to talk to his parents. Do you think he's going to turn back into a donkey? What do you think? Make a prediction. All right, we're going to keep reading. They sat down to eat. Sylvester was now as wide awake as a donkey that was a rock could possibly be. Mrs. Duncan felt some mysterious excitement. "You know, Father," she said suddenly, "I have the strangest feeling that our dear Sylvester is still alive and not far away." I am! Sylvester wanted to shout, but he couldn't. If only he had realized that the pebble resting on his back was the magic pebble. "Oh, how I wish he were here with us on this lovely May day," said Mrs. Duncan. Mr. Duncan looked sadly at the ground. "Don't you wish it too, Father?" she said. He looked at her as if to say, "How could you ask such a question?" Mr. and Mrs. Duncan looked at each other with great sorrow. "I wish I were myself again. I wish I were my real self again," thought Sylvester. And in less than an instant, he was. Look at them. Now they're eating off of all their food is sitting on top of him as a donkey. You can imagine the scene that followed. The embrace, the kisses, the questions, the answers, the loving looks, and the fond exclamations. When they had eventually calmed down a bit and had gotten home, Mr. Duncan put the magic pebble in an iron safe. Someday they might want to use it. But really, for now, what more could they wish for? They had all that they wanted. The end. I think this book is a great example of gratitude. I love that it starts out and he's so excited to have that magic pebble and he thinks he can just have anything he could ever possibly want. And then he gets stuck not being able to be with his family and he's by himself and he's alone and he's this rock. And then he finally gets to turn back into a donkey and be with his family again. And he's so excited. And I think this book is a great example of gratitude because they're so happy and so thankful to be together as a family. I want you guys to think about the things that you are thankful for, the things that you have gratitude for this month. It might be your family, it might be your friends, it might be the warm meal that you get to eat at home with your family. Make sure you take time to be thankful and to tell the people that you love thank you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.